Remember this tune? It's a very old song. I Only Have Eyes for You. And to do it, here are the Flamingos.
My love must be a kind of blind love. I can't see anyone but you. Are the stars out tonight? I don't know if it's cloudy or bright. I only have eyes
Hola, mi gente. This is Jackie Nuñez for Latin Waves. And today we have a special guest, Terry Isaiah Johnson and the lovely Theresa Trigg. Now, this is Terry Johnson's opportunity and Theresa's opportunity to talk about their new stuff. Now, of course, nothing is greater than the classic that they've made, Flamingos, of I Only Have Eyes for You. But later on, we'll hear the newer version that Terry Johnson did, Terry Isaiah Johnson, or Terry Buzzy. Well, welcome, guys. Welcome, Terry and Theresa. How are you?
Fine. How are you?
Thank you for taking the time to be on the show. And this is, I think the last time I saw you, we were having lunch or early dinner, whatever, you're back in Vegas. And got to come out again to see you guys. I miss you.
Yeah, we miss you too. We miss you too.
So I want to first, we'll go down the line, the history of the Flamingos, of course, and then we're going to see the other side of Terry Isaiah Johnson. I'm really excited about that. Let's talk about, of course, your first initial group, where you recorded on Gotham Records in Philadelphia, The Whispers. No relation to the Whispers from the West Coast, of course, right? Tell us about the group and how you started.
Well, that's when I was in my very, very youth. And I had put a group together in Baltimore, Maryland. And we went to New York and went to a few record companies, and they weren't interested in our songs. I'd written 2, and then we had 2 more from the other guys. And on our way back to Baltimore, we stopped in Philadelphia and went to Gotham Records. And as soon as the guy heard it, he recorded us right there on the spot. He took us right in the studio, got the musicians together, and we recorded 4 songs. And Are You Sorry and Full Heart in Love were the 2 that I wrote. And we got some play out of it, a lot of, good play. And that was the beginning of that. And I moved on from there.
A lot of artists always say that they've missed their, companies, record companies would always say, no, they didn't like the group, they weren't interested. Did you ever hear from any of those companies after the fact and did they ever pursue you after the fact?
No, because Gotham was a much smaller label than N Records and Decca Records,
Right.
which we joined afterwards.
So how did the Flamingos form, and what did you do? I mean, I know you wrote a few hits, so I want to make mention of Lovers Say Goodbye and a few others that you wrote. Let's talk about how the Flamingos came about.
They had 2 of the guys, Jake and Zeke Carey, from Baltimore, where I was from. We went to the same synagogue where Hebrew, Masonic Hebrews, and we went to the same synagogue, and they left and went to Chicago, and in the synagogue there, they formed together Johnny Carter and Paul Wilson, and the four of them, and then they got another lead singer, and he didn't work out, and then they got Nate Nelson, and so they had put out a few records before I even got with them, and they came to Baltimore at the Royal Theater, and I went to see the Five Keys. That was my favorite group at that time, and Five Keys were great, and then the Flamingos closed the show. And when I saw them, I saw myself on stage with them. I actually felt like I left my body. I saw me on stage playing guitar and singing with them. And after the show was over, because I knew them, I went backstage and I told them about this experience that I had. And they said, it sounds weird, but okay, cool. So Nate Nelson asked me if I knew of anybody, because Johnny Carter and Zeke Carey were drafted in the service in the Army. And he said if I knew anybody who played guitar or piano or bass or anything, because they needed, somebody to help them with their structures. And so I said, well, I play guitar, I sing lead, I sing baritone, I sing first tenor. They said, you have anything that we can hear? So I played Are You Sorry? And when they heard it, they said, whoa, beautiful, beautiful. Wow. Would you be interested in, coming in and, bringing your guitar and audition for us? I said, not at all. So I came in the next day, bought my guitar, my amplifier, and they put some music in front of me. I just played it. It was a piece of cake. And they said, love you, I love you, love you. So we'll be in touch with you. And so I waited. That was in September. I waited October, November, no call. December, no call. And then it was Christmas Eve, I got a call from Jake Carey. He was in charge of the group at that time. And he said, you still want to be in the Flamingos? I said, you're damn right. It took you so long. He said, well, meet me in Philadelphia tomorrow and become a permanent member of the group. And I went to Philadelphia, and then we went on to New York, and that's how that all started. I not only write songs, like I produced everything, the 4 albums that we recorded. I was producer. My arrangements, all of that stuff came from me. So I just not pat myself on the back, but it was very successful. And I don't have to ask for you. I got that in a dream.
It's a beautiful song. Did you anticipate it be such a classic that it is?
I had no idea. Nobody in the group liked it. But it was my job to take them in the studio and record it, so that's what we had to do. They did not like it at all. George Golden, the president of N Records, he didn't like it. He thought it was terrible. And they didn't give it a shot. He said, but because of spend my money and went in the studio and did it anyway, and put it on Flamingo Serenade album, which was our first. And the DJs heard it. They heard the whole album. Goodnight Sweetheart was supposed to be the release. But when the DJs heard I Only Have Eyes for You, everybody chose it. And it started spreading around the country from New York all the way to California. In every state, it was just on fire. And that was the beginning of our biggest song.
And obviously, no one really liked it or didn't anticipate it to be the big hit that it actually became. Until today, it's still quite a hit.
Yes.
And you have all different demographics that love that song. Yeah. And I want to play the newer version. You did it like an R&B, jazzy. It's a beautiful version. So, Anna will play the newer version of I Only Have Eyes for You.
stars out tonight. I don't know if it's cloudy or bright. I only have eyes for you, only you. The moon may be high, but I can't see a thing in the starry sky. I only have eyes for you. I don't know if we're in a garden on a crowded avenue. You are here, so am I. Maybe millions of people go by, but they all disappear from view. And I only have eyes for you. Must be a kind of blind love, my sweet lover. I can't see anyone else. I don't know. Are we in a garden? Tell me, on a crowded avenue. You are here, baby, so am I. Seems like millions of people, they just pass us by, but they all disappear. Baby, don't you know I only have eyes for you. Blind am I must be of all the girls, only you I see. You love what you love. You love what you love, my baby. You love what you love. Come closer.
Wow, what a beautiful rendition of the new version. I noticed, Terry, that you also did a little bit of the background from the original. From the original was a little different on the background. I know there was a slight differentiate, how would you say, different than the original. Who was it on the background that, and what was exactly said on the background of the original?
Right. Well, it was different because the other one is dubap shabap, and this one is dubap shabap.
You said what were they saying?
Yeah, because I know that it was different. And then you said it on your new one, too, at the end.
Yeah, $1 for every time somebody asked, we'd be millionaires.
Right.
Nobody could figure that out.
Who is that couple that you used? I mean, she had some eyes. She certainly lived up to the part, I only have eyes for you.
Yeah, that was a good film.
Hi, this is Joe Photo. How are you?
Matter of fact, I was just reminded recently
Good.
that she's actually from Ukraine.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh.
she just got her American citizenship. She's been over here 7 years.
Wow.
Very hard to get
That's
her
amazing.
Well, I don't know about the citizenship, but she got a residency. I don't know what the difference is. I'm sorry, but I was reminded not too long ago that she's Ukrainian.
you had a question.
Oh, well, that's amazing. But it's a lovely video overall. I want to move on. I know that you are a writer, as producer, composer, arranger, and as a singer. I noticed you go from a baritone to a first tenor. Isn't that very difficult to achieve?
No, it's very easy. I love being able to switch my voice. But now talking about producer and writer, and I cannot leave out my partner here.
I was going to get there. I do like that when you guys, even as the Flamingos, Theresa's on stage and she's actually conducting the orchestra, and you hear her voice too. I like that. But I wish you would just turn around and sing with the rest of them.
Well, we have a song that I do when we do a 90-minute show. But I used to be on the front line full time. But then we went back to the Flamingo format, which was my idea to get back to the African American guys, all lead singers, and that kind of stuff. Yeah. Well, thank you, though. I appreciate that.
I know that you guys, there's a picture of us there.
Yeah.
There you are in the middle.
Yep.
The other songs you wrote, and actually I want to mention about the other shows you do, because I know, like, when you guys do your own shows, you guys are amazing, full of energy. You come up with a lot of surprises, even newer songs. This is the side I want to talk about, the newer stuff coming up. Theresa, you also have been producing and writing alongside with Terry. What is your take on this? How do you feel, and where do you see yourself going forward?
Well, we've been performing on stage together for 46 years, but we've also been writing and producing behind the scenes for 46 years. So we have a big catalog that we never had an opportunity to cultivate and push, things that we wanted to reproduce and re-record, update, change. So when COVID hit, it was sort of a no-brainer that, well, we're not going anywhere to perform, so let's spend full time in the studio, which is what we've been doing now for 2 years, and we're actually loving it because it's giving us an opportunity to do the newer music and to show, especially for Terry, because he's got so many different takes on music, as like Eyes, and I mentioned to you behind the scenes that we have another version coming out that's totally different. But the point is that he loves all styles of music. He's not stuck in a decade.
Right.
He's not stuck in a style. He loves today's artists. We both, Bruno Mars, and the list goes on. Mary J. Blige is one of my favorite African American artist out there, vocalist and rapper. But so the point is that he gets an opportunity to also show his versatility, because so many times when you have a big hit like Eyes, and you're known, Lovers Never Say Goodbye, and you're known as a writer and producer from an era, a lot of people want to keep you there.
Right.
What we call in the industry, keep you in a box.
Right.
And so this has given us an opportunity for him to come out of the box and say, hey, this is what I like. I hope you like it too. There's going to be some people that like it. There's going to be some people that don't like it. But we carry on the Flamingo sound when the song calls for it, and if the song calls for something completely different, we're not afraid to do that anymore, and he's not afraid to do that anymore, and it's just a showing of versatility.
Right.
Absolutely. Now, why do you think that promoters are still stuck on the past and don't allow for you guys to show the versatility, that there's so much more of you than obviously I Only Have Eyes for You. Why do you suppose they keep you closed in or boxed in?
Ticket sales.
Ticket sales.
In other words, we understand that they're appealing to a genre, a generation of people who grew up with that music. That was their music in high school or their early 20s. Right. It was their life. You know, we all have songs from that time in our lives that we keep in our hearts and in our minds forever. And so these promoters are appealing to a certain age group and a certain genre of music. And they are of the opinion that the audience doesn't want to hear us do anything else.
Right.
Now, that's their opinion. And in some ways it's right, and in some ways it's wrong. The audience is hungry to hear something that artist that they respect, something new. But, I understand, and I can relate to it when we went to see Prince before he passed. And he was doing all this new music from this new album. And I was sitting there going, when am I going to hear Let's Get Crazy? So I can relate to the fact that the audience does want to hear certain songs, but I do think that the promoters, if they would allow the artist to do, even if it's just one song, to sort of say, here's another side of me, or here's a different sound of me, or whatever, I think the audiences would appreciate it. And we push that envelope. We're like salmon swimming.
Yeah, Theresa, we have spoken about this. You guys already proven, without a shadow of a doubt, of basically different demographics, from very young to old. Now, let's break up that demographic. What was that demographic that you guys hit?
On the YouTube channel, you mean?
Yes, correct.
Oh, yeah, the analytics are telling us that our top 3 demographic range from 18 to 44 years old, which was very encouraging because not only do we have the possibility of, let's say, an 18-year-old, if we put something out that's younger sounding and they, I like this song, like maybe the new one that we're doing, the Latin one that you're going to play. They like, and they go on the channel and they listen to that song, and then they go, hey, what's this over here? And they hear I Only Have Eyes for You and go, whoa. It sort of like comes full circle where we pull them in so they can appreciate the new stuff, but then they can also appreciate the original sound of the flamingos and their classic, and we don't want to erase that by any means. We want to cultivate that and bring in, that was always our desire, to go around the world and bring in all different ages for all the music we want to put out, as well as appreciating the flamingos music. The older
and you guys are very big out in Europe and all these other countries. This is something I've also asked of many artists. Why do you suppose our music is so prevalent in other countries more so than here? Why do you suppose that? I mean, of course it's big here, but it's just more prevalent in other countries.
Companies, record companies, they want young talent that knows nothing at all about the business. You know what I'm trying to say? I think it's just starting to catch on, where the younger artists that are being recorded now are hip to, they're supposed to make money, real money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Now, I mean, this music is big out west. I think it's because we also are guilty of not teaching our next generation about the music as well.
I've heard it said, and I don't know how true this is, but I've heard it said that the European markets seem to be a little behind our more up-to-date markets. Now, the only way we can relate to that is when we went over there to perform, we wound up finding out that they like the A side. Oh, but they really love the B side of that 45. It's like, what? But this was the hit. The A side was the hit.
They're known for the rare and obscure, or the B side, as you say, because they're very well knowledgeable. They're very educated on our history of music, and most groups that go over there have to learn all the B-sides or all the rare stuff that they sang back in the day. They have to kind of relearn it, which is pretty interesting if you think about it, because they really know our music.
Yeah.
Right, they do.
Yes.
I mean, they would go back and do, what was the song, some of the songs they were doing, like.
Oh, I remember it was a B-side of Jerry Lee Lewis and Mary, cross the ferry, cross the Mersey.
Right.
They were singing that around the piano bar, and I mean, it was they really do tune into the
Sam and Dave, all the kind of, I mean, going way back.
Right.
Those old songs, but to them it was it.
Right.
It was it.
But it was amazing though when we worked Japan, the young fans, the young guys, coming up with Flamingo Serenade, wanting him to sign it and loving it. And the Japanese artists over there, a couple of them are on our subscribers. And, they dress in the 50s and they live the 50s music and the hair and the clothes.
Yeah, the same thing I saw in Spain. When I went to Spain, they have like a whole week of just oldies, and they get groups from here, they get groups from Germany, from Japan, Thailand, like from all over the world. They get groups. They, like you said, they dress the part, they look the part. I mean, it's amazing, and you don't have this here. I wish they had this here, because no one does it here like they do. I mean, they really live it, down to the cars, the hairdo, just everything about the music they love, and it's great because they're keeping it alive. They really are keeping it alive.
And then on the other side of the coin, just to insert this, the newer song that we're talking about that you're going to play, we released that over in Europe first, and it went like gangbusters.
The 14-year-old
more so than the United States. That's why we said, okay, so we're going to debut this in the United States because Terry didn't put out any kind of bio, picture, nothing. Nobody knew who it was from. He didn't use any accolades.
But the beautiful thing is that because no picture or nothing about me really, just my name, and kids from India and Japan, China, Germany, 14 years old, loved my stuff. I mean, and what, 1.5 million? When
are you gonna do more?
When are you gonna do more? I mean, that was really encouraging, knowing that young people did like, what
it was judged by the sound of the music, not by the cover of the book.
Right.
Speaking of the sound of music, now I remember hearing the new song that you guys just did, the Knock Knock Let Me In, which we're going to play momentarily. You didn't even notice that I said to you, wow, that sounds like a reggaeton. And you're like, what reggaeton? So you actually hit it on the nose with a Latin reggaeton tropical feel to it, and had no idea that that's exactly what you were aiming at, or didn't even know that was in existence already. So tell us about the song, and how did you come up with it?
It's one of my songs, just came out of me, and we put it together. She heard what I was doing, she added, I added, and it's that easy. I mean, it's not a hard process for us.
Doing what
it was a great collaboration, by the way. That was great.
Thank you. Like I said earlier, do what you feel.
Do what you feel.
If it has a name, or like you said, oh, that's a reggaeton. It's like, okay, sometimes you just do what you feel, and you don't.
I'm still waiting for the "I Only Have Eyes for You" in Espanol. I'm still waiting for that. I know it didn't make a great salsa, by the way.
I would like to do that, but
Yep.
what style? Not the same older style.
No. I said a salsa. That would make a great
Salsa.
salsa.
Oh, okay.
Like a
Yeah.
full orchestration, a salsa.
All right, so when we going in the studio, Jackie?
Gotta be soon because that is definitely a hit.
All right.
So I want to play the knock knock, and we'll take it from there. Go ahead, Anna.
Hey girl, open up the door, open up. Hey, let me in. All I really want to say is, girl, I love you, baby girl. Won't you let me in? Oh, you don't have to say much. I do all the talking. I'm not like other men. Come on. Let me in, because I can't be just your friend. I say the way you look at me, like you wanna touch my body. Oh, this climax can begin, baby, 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 baby. Oh yeah. I'm knocking, baby. I'm the man you've been looking for. All you gotta do is open up your door. Knock it, knock it, knock it up. I'm knocking, baby. This is one time you can be sure. All you gotta do is open up your door. Hey, let me in, let me in. I want you, girl. Have used and you have been abused, but I won't be like them. Oh no, 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 girl. Now every chance I get, I'll prove that I'm legit, and you will never be hurt again, baby, baby. Let me in, 'cause I can't be just your friend. I love the way you look at me, baby girl. Can I kiss your body? So this further can begin, baby, 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 baby. Oh yeah. I'm knocking, baby. I'm the man you've been looking for. All you gotta do is open up your door. Knock it, knock it, knock it up. I'm knocking, baby. This is one time you can be sure. All you gotta do is open up your door. Oh, I see the way you look at me, girl. Let me in, let me in. Hey, girl. Knock.
I hear you knocking on my door every day, baby. You gotta give me time to settle up the score, baby. I know you're spitting truth, no underhanded spoof. I can't deny you're one of the only men I'll open to. Take it easy on me, my eyes can see a phony. I'll give my love to you and you won't have no alimony. Make no mistake about it, if I open up to you, you'll never wanna leave this warm, tender, sweet cocoon. Keep on knocking, baby.
Okay, baby girl.
I'll open up, maybe.
Please.
If you wanna get all up on this,
What?
you gotta earn this.
All right. Let me try.
Earn this.
Oh yeah. I'm knocking, baby. I'm the man you've been looking for. All you gotta do is open up your door. Knock it up. I'm knocking, baby. This is one time you can be sure. All you gotta do is open up your door. Knock it. I'm knocking, baby. I'm the man you've been looking for. All you gotta do is open up your door. Knock it. I'm knocking, baby. This is one time you can be sure. All you gotta do is open up your door.
But I still feel like dancing. I mean, that's such a hit to me. Anna, who's one of our youngest ones, and she said this is really, she's jamming with it. So that to me is a total hit. I love it. Now, this coming from I Only Have Eyes for You to this shows what a diversity. It's absolutely beautiful. I mean, that beat is on. And you got to do more stuff like this, Terry. This is absolutely beautiful. You guys are great.
Another one. We got
Coming
another
out in
one.
the summertime, already ready to go.
Party. It's
Now,
party.
this is hit on top of the charts in Europe, correct?
Huh?
This is already on the charts in Europe.
Oh yeah, it was 4 weeks straight at number one.
Number one.
Wow.
Then it came down and went back up again to number
Yeah, it actually
one.
came down to number 3 and went back up to 1, which we can't figure. That's like, that was amazing.
What's an amazing song? I like the dog thing. You thought of that, Theresa? That is pretty cool.
I give all the credit to Yah. He gives me the ideas, and I think I told you I was stumped for the end of that video, and I just kept asking him, and all of a sudden the idea, bing, and I said, "That's it."
Fantastic when I saw it.
That was pretty creative. It was very creative. I mean, that beat, that bass line, of course, it's so good. Yeah.
When the dog comes out and does the salsa beat, he's
Yeah.
Right on it.
right on it.
You see where I'm going with this? Where I want you to do "I Only Have Eyes for You" in a salsa version. Do you see where I'm going with this?
That can be done. Yeah.
Yes.
I think so too. I mean, I know you had another song, right, that was pretty popular in Europe as well. You want to talk about that too?
Do it. Yeah.
It was kind of like a Jamaican reggae
Yes.
song. Yeah.
Right.
It did good too.
Right. That was number 1 for 3 weeks.
Wow. That was great too. Now I know when you guys do shows, at least from when you do shows, other than the flamingos in general, you bring a whole lot more than just the hits of the flamingos. Tell us about those experiences you had doing those shows.
It's more fun. At any age, everybody likes it. We have kids, we have older people that just love it. We like to do at least a 90-minute show, and we do a variety of everything you can imagine. We have a special song that gets us tremendous applause, and that's a tribute to Barry White called "Ode to Barry." And that's really outstanding song.
Nice medley.
Nice medley, and it's out now. It's doing really well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So basically, now that you're doing other things and have obviously more of the time to do so, is there any genre of music that you haven't done and would like to do?
I like everything we do.
No, is there a genre that we haven't done
That we haven't done
that we
well.
would like to do?
I like your idea of doing "I Only Have Eyes for You" salsa. I'm gonna
We got to work on that.
I'm going to start on that today with an idea of, because I know that beat. Anything that can make you move is inspiring.
Don't forget the timbales and the clave, because that's
Oh
important.
yeah, not a problem.
Not a problem. Love tamales.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, it's gonna make a great hit once you do that. I'm totally all over it. So
Cool.
now I want to go back a little again. You did write for Motown. You wrote alongside Smokey Robinson. You wrote for the Supremes, Temptations. Tell us your experience as a writer for Motown, and how did that go for you?
Well, I've known Smokey because we were doing the theaters all over the Apollo Theater, New York, and Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington, Chicago, L.A. And so we had worked together quite a bit. So I had 4 songs that I had. I had another girl singer. Her name was Terry also. So it was Terry and Terry, which is kind of dumb, but that was our name. So I let Smokey hear songs, and he said, "Damn, Buzz," that's my nickname, Buzzy. He said, "Damn, Buzz, I like it." I said, "Well, you think I can?" I didn't even know he was vice president of Motown Records. I said, "You think you could, talk to Barry and maybe give us a shot?" He said, "Yeah, I can definitely get you with Motown, man." And he said, I also have a team since Holland Dozer and Holland leaving Motown said, Barry wants me to put my own team together. I've got one guy, Al Cleveland, he said, and from what I just heard, you play for me. I want you on my team. Are you interested? I said, damn right. You kidding me? So, I got there, and the first song we did a song on the Temptations, Fan the Flame. And I had a chance, meeting all the artists I never had the chance to work with before. And I'm in the studio recording them all. I recorded Diana Ross and the Supremes, Martha and the Vandellas, Bobby Taylor and the Vancouvers, the Four Tops, my best friends. I mean, Levi had such a strong, and I can't even think of everybody. the Marvelettes.
The Marvelettes, wow.
Especially Smokey and the Miracles.
The Miracles.
So I did a lot of songs that did Smokey. Matter of fact, that was one of my biggest songs with him was Baby, Baby, Don't Cry. It got me some BMI awards. And it was like 7 years of my life that I spent there with him as a partner. And he was a beautiful person to work with all the time and kept me laughing. He was a funny guy. He's great sense of humor. So Motown, my days in Motown was a great memory that I'll never forget. And it was something that is in my spirit because I learned so much from Smokey and being at Motown.
Now, in all the experiences you had with Motown and the other labels, is there anything you would have done differently?
I didn't understand that.
Is there anything you would have done differently with the? I mean, other than the experiences he already had?
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes. I would have wanted to be a single artist. A single artist, seriously, because with the Flamingos, I was more of I love harmonies, and when I play my guitar, I can hear all kind of things. So that's why the Flamingos were different, because I had a structure from my guitar, from my spirit from Yah, that I would give to them, and it would blow their minds. Like, whoa, I love that. Where'd you get that from? Got it from Yah. But but when the Flamingos broke up, I was just a flamingo. Nobody knew my name. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that would have been something different that I would. Now, I did record singles with the Flamingos, but as the Flamingos.
Right.
So that's what I would have done a little different. I would have concentrated more on me and my style of music of what I wanted to do.
Well, it's never too late, huh? I mean, you're doing it now, so you have quite a diverse, the talent is amazing that you have, and you're a great writer, composer, arranger. Is there anyone you model after or that you admire?
Right now, the main inspiration I have is from Bruno Mars.
Wow.
I love his.
I guess you'll be doing another one, right? Like that.
Yeah, and he's so different. I mean, he's not like anybody. Matter of fact, Bruno, I know his father, Peter, and even from Hawaii. As a little kid, he was doing James Brown. He was doing all these songs, Elvis, all that stuff. So he loves going back in the past, getting that music, and then rearranging it. But because I can hear every song where you got it from.
Yeah. It's very retro.
Yeah. He does some Earth, Wind, and Fire. He does like stylistics.
Delphonics.
It kind of sounds almost identical to whatever group he's copying after, for lack of a better way of saying it.
Right.
I mean, some of the chords sound identical, if you will.
Right.
Yeah.
And I love his range. He can hit those high notes. You can see the veins popping out of his neck.
vocal arrangements are so
His
strong.
vocal
too.
arrangements are strong. Yeah,
Yeah.
I really admire him
Mhm.
because he's so young and he has an opportunity. See, he's by himself, so Bruno Mars, so you know
Well,
who he is.
he grew up. He grew up with the oldies. I know we
Yeah.
don't really like to say doo-wop, but for lack of a better term, the early rock and roll is basically what he grew up on because his
That's
father
right.
was into that music.
His father still is an
Yes,
entertainer, a
entertainer.
musician.
In Hawaii.
He produces shows. He had one here in Vegas. So he got, the talent from, first of all, Yavin, and through his mother and father. His father was the one that was presenting him as the little Elvis and
Yeah, right.
in his father's show. So he got exposed, and his father is in love with the oldies music.
Right.
So he got exposed to all of that at such an early age.
What I like about him is like he can take an older song
Right.
and rearrange it where you can hardly recognize that it was that older song. And he would put his own spin on it. And that's what I admire. Anybody with a talent like that, I admire.
Right.
He was doing a concert in Puerto Rico, and he came out of nowhere and he said, "Please say you want me to." And it's like all the people are cheering. It's like, does anyone realize that's an oldie? And he just brought it out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful. And he mixed it with, of course, his songs, his modern songs.
Right.
So I think that's something you guys should do. I mean, of course, you've taken an old song and put your own flavor and update it, but how about mixing it where, you have a whole different flavor to it, like you did with an R&B jazz version of "I Only Have Eyes for You."
Right.
Right.
I think it would be great. Once again, I'm going to mention it. It's going to be a great Latin tune.
I told you, I'd give you my word.
Thank you.
I'm going to work on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to hear that because I know it's going to be good.
You'll be the first to hear it. You can believe that.
I'm going to get it first, right? Because I got to play it first on my radio show.
Right. And the tune that we came out with before Knock Knock, called "It's You," that was an old school and a modern flavor mixed together.
Right.
So,
Right. That's right. I had totally forgotten about that one, and it's great. But the fact that you guys can go from one era all the way to now is amazing. And, I hope you continue to do new things like this, kind of like what Bruno Mars does, but put your own flavor to it. Now, I would even like to hear a bachata, so I'm going to bother you on a bachata too.
okay.
That's a different beat, pretty relevant to today. Thank you for that, Anna, because she's the one who told me about that.
If it's one thing I can say about me is, if you suggest something to me, I'll try it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't feel anything is too hard or too nonsensical. If you give me an idea, I'll start on it. I'll write it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what I love to do. I love to be creative.
Right. I'll testify to that. Working with Terry in the studio, I come from a totally different type of music. My music was Black Sabbath and Jimi Hendrix and the Winners, all kind of, that kind of stuff that was popular back then. But when we're writing and producing together, and I say, I have an idea for that part. He's wide open. It's never a thing of like, no, it's got to be it's my ideas.
I want to hear it.
It's my music. It's my this. And when we co-write, doesn't matter who wrote what, doesn't matter how much this person wrote and how little this person wrote. What it's a collaboration, and we're both willing to open our minds up to say what you got. And usually, and anybody that writes and produces songs will testify to this. You get all fired up. I got this great idea, and you'll be the first one to hear it and go, "Ew." No, forget it. Sorry, not that good. Let's move on.
Yeah.
But has there been anything that you guys have done but maybe you thought, oh, it's not that great, but when somebody else hears it, they love it. How do you deal with that when you particularly might not be crazy about it, but somebody else is? Would you take the chance in releasing it?
Would you what?
Would you take the chance in releasing it if it's something that you might not think is all that great, but somebody else does?
That I'm not crazy about, but somebody else really likes it.
Yeah.
I'd be interested in
Right.
releasing it.
Right.
It all depends. It all depends. In other words, I'm not stubborn, and I'm not stupid, because other people's ears, I can't hear what everybody hears. You know what I mean? So I don't think any song is really so bad where I wouldn't record it. I mean, like, I look at Chubby Checker and the Twist. He wanted to be this big time singer, but he recorded, the Twist, and
That's it.
and that was him.
That's what he was known.
And he was known for it. But he wanted to be a balladeer. He wanted to sing love songs. But
Right. And that's an interesting question, Jackie, because we have such a big catalog of stuff that's fully produced, but never released.
Right.
But now it's dated, and we listen to it, and it's still good. We still like it, and say, should we update that or just put it out like it is?
Like it was.
Record collectors and DJs that like to play the rare and obscure stuff will see those unreleased as treasures. So
Right.
might be worth taking out.
Right. Well, we just talked about a song yesterday that happened to come in the queue when we were driving, and
Mystery.
And we said, you know what? Let's not redo that. Let's just release that and see what happens. See if the younger people, because it's a dance song as well. And it's got a heavy beat and all that kind of. We said, let's just release it and see it, because what's old is new.
Right.
And so to us, we may think, oh, it's dated or whatever, but it has such a strong beat and such a good sound to it.
Yeah.
We just said it yesterday. Let's
Listen
release
to it
that
and
later on
wow,
this year and
it's
just throw it out there and
I guess you should go with the principle of what happened to I Only Have Eyes for You when, they didn't like it, and look, it became such a major hit. So maybe you should look at it in the same aspect, right?
That's interesting. That's deep. Because you're so right. Because like you said, Goldner said, well, you spent the money in the studio, so I'm not going to throw money away. I'll just throw it on this album, and that's it, because the release was supposed to be
Good Night, Sweetheart.
Good Night, Sweetheart, not the other Good Night, Sweetheart.
Good night, sweetheart, till we meet tomorrow.
Right. So he just threw it on the album thinking, well, we spent the money, so, it's garbage.
He was surprised because, like, he told me, don't ever go in that studio without me again. You hear what I'm saying? I said, but that's my job. He said, no, unless I'm with you, you cannot go in that studio.
Right.
And then when the DJs heard it, they started spinning it, and it got big. He called me and said, Terry, come in here for a minute. I said, what? He said, I just want you to know that, forget what I said. You have carte blanche. Anytime you want to go in the studio, you have my blessings. Just keep doing songs.
That's because that song made such a big hit. Now you have carte blanche.
Matter of fact, he asked Terry to write a follow-up, and that's when Terry wrote Mio Amore.
Mio Amore, another great hit.
Right. So that was the follow-up for Island. So that's a great idea, Jackie. I'm glad you kind of reinforced what we talked about yesterday, because you're right. You do not know what other people are going to like.
Exactly.
You please the world all the time, but you don't know until you put it out.
I want to thank you both for being on the show. We have to do this again, a continuation, of course.
Love you, Jack.
I love you guys. You both are very special. And I only have eyes for you.
I only have eyes for you.
With that, I have to say, have a great day. And this is Jackie Nuñez for Latin Waves.